security, just minding his own business. And it would appear that J. Cole was in LA for more than just a visit, as a few days later, Kendrick posted a tweet saying, "Me and Cole was in the stew last night." And with all that said, a couple months later, Kendrick would release another song produced by J. Cole, The Jig Is Up. However, it was now time for J. Cole to shine, and he quickly dropped his sophomore album, which did have a feature from Kendrick.
Yes, and this was a pretty decent song, but Kendrick didn't go hard on this track at all.
But Kendrick didn't even rap. He was only on the hook. What's interesting about the track, given Kendrick's presence on it, is the ongoing theme of Cole referring to himself as being the best and how he's above everyone else.
That's the biggest issue.
Cole is the king, most definite. When I say that I'm the greatest, I ain't talking about later.
Somebody's gonna challenge your spot when you say that all the time. And when they do, you can't say, "I'm not. I was just trolling. I was just talking about me and my song." I should be able to say it. No, you can't. Niggas gonna challenge that.
The niggas is below me.
And look, he's supposed to think he's the best. That's just part of the game. But I just found it interesting that he's sharing the record with Kendrick. He's talking this way, and Kendrick really doesn't get a chance to rap back. However, Kendrick would get a chance to rap, as just 2 months later, he completely shook the industry when he dropped his Control verse.
Usually homeboys with the same niggas I'm rhyming with, but this is hip-hop and them niggas should know what time it is. And that goes for Jamaica, Big Crit, Wale.
On the verse, Kendrick calls out multiple rappers, which triggered responses mostly from MCs that weren't even named, but one rapper...
Oh man, that's what I be saying when the hip hop, you know what I'm saying, people be telling me about like how much Control did. Yeah, to the niggas that actually were mentioned in the song, let me hear what it did. Not to the thousands of other niggas that included themselves within it that weren't spoken about or talked about at all. He literally said in the verse, "New niggas, just new niggas, don't get involved." He literally says that.
Rapper that was named and did respond was J. Cole.
Thought you was a damn ass bitch till I found that shit a couple days ago. I was home alone. Next thing I know, that long ass verse on a song called Control was on.
In the verse, J. Cole paints the picture of a girl playing the Control verse that he was close with. This is likely in reference to the big splash that the verse made, given the fact that the whole world talked about it at the time.
That's when I seen the shit playing on your phone. Girl, is that a ringtone? Shit, not you too. Man, I hate them, not you too.
Cole then has a conversation with the girl, alluding to how the hype sucked her in. People like Drake would make similar remarks about the verse, saying that it was just for shock value and that it would be forgettable.
Everybody in their mama gas, even my mama asked what I'ma do.
Again, Cole makes mention to how everyone gassed up the Control verse and makes it known that people that he was close with questioned him on how he would respond to it.
Decisions. In case this is water, I load up on all ammunition.
Again, Cole echoes a similar response to Drake, where Drake said that if it's really beef, then let it be real.
So it's like, was that real or was that just like for the people? You know what I mean?
I think it's a sparring kind of sport.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you know, then let it be real then, you know, I mean, because those were harsh words.
If a nigga want powders on
Harsh words is crazy still, but I get what he's saying.
triggers on auto, I make sure that nobody miserable.
So Cole is really letting Kendrick know that if he wants to make this thing real, if he wants to take it there, that he's ready for war. The last line where he states that he's going to make sure that nobody misses him appears to be a direct response to Kendrick's verse when he said this.
I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you niggas. Trying to make sure your core fans never heard of you niggas. They don't want to hear not one more down the road for you niggas.
So J. Cole is saying, I can make you disappear. It's critical to note that when the Control verse dropped, Cole felt obligated to reach out to...
That's not what he said. He said, I'm trying to make sure that you are not heard of again. Like, if you slip up, I'm going to make sure that you regret it. If you don't take this rap shit serious, I'm going to make sure you regret it. I'm going to take your fans. I'm going to take your lyrical butt. It's basically what he's saying. So watch yourself. It's just a warning. I still don't feel like it did anything, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, bro, I'm here. I'm coming.
Kendrick directly to try to make sense of what it was all about.
I had to have a conversation with him. So I just had to find out for myself, like, yo, what?
You came at me, dog?
What's that?
And Kendrick did explain on many occasions that his relationship with J. Cole did not change as a result of that verse.
Specifically, where are you at, like, with the J. Cole? Specifically, where are you at with a Drake or so on and so forth?
I respect their music,
Like that.
for sure. I respect them as individuals and creators.
And Kendrick seemingly wasn't lying, as some months after the Control verse, P. Diddy allegedly tried to pour a drink on Kendrick at a party. Diddy was in a drunken state and was pissed off about Kendrick's King of New York line, and J. Cole defended him. It was Cole's intervention that led to the infamous scuffle between himself and Diddy. I mean, anyone out here getting in a fight with J. Cole, of all people, you're clearly just a massive piece of shit. Let's just call it for what it is.
That verse even led to the fight with Puff and Cole.
J. Cole would mention the fight years later on a track called Let Go of My Hand.
My last scrap was with Puff Daddy, who would've thought it?
As far as award shows for the year, Kendrick cleaned up with BET, winning Lyricist of the Year, MVP of the Year, and Album of the Year, all over J. Cole. Kendrick also clinched the #1 spot for MTV's Hottest MC, and J. Cole didn't even make the list.
Damn.
With MTV, man, because you did not make the freshman.
man,
Or not the freshman list, but the hottest MC.
Right. Inexcusable, man.
It's inexcusable, man. I'm like, this dude's got a gold album. Like, what do you...
Platinum single, gold album, Grammy nominated, you know.
You gotta kind of be like, come on, son, like, word.
Yeah, it was. It just let me know, like, what that whole thing was.
Wait. Let me see. Well, who else was... He cleaned up... What year was this?
Fight years later on a track
2013.
called Let Go of My Hand.
My last scrap was with Puff Daddy, who would've thought it?
As far as award shows for the year, Kendrick cleaned up with BET, winning Lyricist of the Year, MVP of the Year, and Album of the Year, all over J. Cole.
Okay, so I know what
Kendrick
this
also
is.
clinched the #1.
So Cole would have been... I only think he would have been potentially acknowledged for would have been what, Born Sinner? You didn't do anything that was better than Nas, Rick Ross, 2 Chainz. Big Sean was making noise. Like, I wouldn't say he was as good of a rapper as J. Cole, but he was definitely making more noise, I would say, to a certain degree. Not in every aspect, but they was around. J. Cole was definitely better than Big Sean in 2013, 2012 era. He definitely was. Rocky, Future, Meek, Kanye. I don't think this is like random at all for him not to end up in this list. If we talking about 2013, like absolutely not. This is completely fair.
Spot for MTV's Hottest MC, and J. Cole didn't even make the list.
With MTV, man, because you did not make the freshman.
man,
Or not the freshman list, but the hottest MC.
Right. Inexcusable, man.
It's inexcusable, man. I'm like, this dude's got a gold album. Like, what do you...
Platinum single, gold album, Grammy nominated, you know.
You gotta kind of be like, come on, son, like, word.
Yeah, it was. It just let me know, like, what that whole thing was.
And I normally take these lists with a huge grain of salt, but I do think it's important to highlight just how many times Kendrick has won over J. Cole, because I feel like that feeds into the chip that's on J. Cole's shoulder in recent years. To further confirm that the two were still on good terms, they celebrated Cole's birthday in New York together, and some months later, J. Cole brought Kendrick on stage while he was on tour in LA. However, it was in that same year that J. Cole would release what many people would consider to be his classic album, and on that project, he had a few little jabs for Kendrick.
I didn't hear him.
Play no games, boy, I ain't no joke. Like the great Rakim, when I make my notes.
So it's kind of similar to Kendrick's Control verse, where Cole is paying homage to a bunch of legends, and he's putting himself in the mix.
Or you might be Drizzy Drake or Kendrick Lamar. But check the birth date, nigga. You ain't the guy. Cole the guy.
This line acts as a double entendre, where 1, Cole inserts himself as being above both Kendrick and Drake, and 2, Rakim commonly goes by the God MC, and Cole just so happens to share the same birthday, January 28th. So at this point, it's just all friendly competition in the spirit of hip-hop, but it was the Control verse that triggered this type of competition.
I wouldn't say the Control verse triggered the competition. That probably would have been in existence regardless, but because he just said already before the Control verse even came out, when they were rapping with one another, Cole, I would assume his insecurity when it came to how good Kendrick's verse was on tracks that they tried to record earlier with one another didn't end up seeing the light of day. So, I mean, this was going to happen regardless. It wouldn't have mattered.
J. Cole would also make it very clear on his track Fire Squad of where he felt he was.
This is such a great song. I think J. Cole, this is still probably my favorite J. Cole track.
At in the rap.
Or at least one of them.
Ain't no way around it no more. I am the greatest. Lot of niggas set on the throne. I am the latest.
Cole also makes it known that he's not afraid of anyone.
I ain't afraid of you niggas. I ain't afraid of you niggas.
At the end of the record, J. Cole brings up the debate of who's really the king and claims that the crown is his for the taking.
While the people debate who's the king of this rap game, here comes Lil Old Jermaine to snatch the crown from whoever y'all think has it.
But that would not be all, as J. Cole had another subliminal for Kendrick on GOMD.
When I'm in LA, I'm the best in the West. You can test, I'm a stretch niggas out.
I mean, if we're talking about the West Coast in 2014, I don't know who else he would be talking to other than Kendrick. However, it was in this year that
But he said, when I'm in the South, I'm the best. Didn't he say, when I'm in the South, I'm the best in the... Unless I'm remembering the line wrong. When I'm in LA, I'm the best in the West. There's more to that, ain't there? Isn't there another bar where he says, when I'm somewhere, he mentions multiple locations. When I'm back home, fuck the rest, I'm the best nigga out. When I'm back home, I'm the best in the South. Fuck the rest, I'm the best nigga out. When I'm in LA, I'm the best in the West. That's not like a Kendrick shot. That's not a Kendrick shot. That's just a general I'm the best ass bar. And I don't think it means anything coming from J. Cole, because he's not going to say anybody's name most likely, but I mean, a direct at Kendrick is a little bit far.
I mean, if we're talking about the West Coast in 2014, I don't know who else he would be talking to other than Kendrick. However, it was in this year that Kendrick would win BET Lyricist of the Year again over J. Cole, and everyone remembers the infamous Macklemore Grammy snub.
Macklemore and Ryan Lewis.
This is so crazy till this day.
2015, talks about this joint Kendrick and Cole project are still very much alive.
Is there going to be a Kendrick Lamar J. Cole album?
Just hit me. You know what Cole does? He does the if the shoe fits type shots. That's his MO.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if it fits, like, there's nothing that becomes of it. I don't even think Cole is prepared for if somebody were to challenge it, if he were to say it. Like, because, I mean, obviously, he's still got time right now, as Kendrick's most recent shot at his verse. He's still got time to respond to it, but if he doesn't, it's just like, bro, everything that you say in reference to being the hottest or being the best is just empty. Like, why even keep saying it? I wouldn't try to put that energy out there for people who casually talk about like street shit or like beef outside of music. But if it's just music and you talk about competition and who's the best and my music destroys yours, 100% I'm gassing that. Because why aren't you saying anything?
Definitely. I still would love to do it for sure. I talked to the bro. I don't know, probably a little bit over a month. And he's on the tour rocking, so we're trying to make something happen.
However,
why J. Cole considered third when his discog don't even clear Schoolboy's? Why does Schoolboy not get his due? A Schoolboy will get his due, but J. Cole just sells more records, you know. That's just the fact of the matter. Like, the biggest artists are going to be acknowledged. And when he's saying that, you know, Drake and, you know, me and K-Dot and Drizzy, is it Aubrey, K-Dot, or me, or whatever he said in that first person shooter line, it's like, y'all aren't on the same level just because you sell records, bro. And that's kind of what he was insinuating. Not saying that y'all are bad, once again, it's just we not the same.
The closest thing we would get to a joint album would be on November 15th when both Cole and Kendrick released a song each titled Black Friday, where they're both going in on each other's beats.
This was a great little moment too, by the way.
Now, the feedback that we got from those records was pretty well unanimous. Kendrick going so hard I forgot Cole was on it. Sheesh. Kendrick was the destruction, J. Cole was the recovery. Kendrick was rapping like his life was on the line in this one.
He was going crazy. And Kendrick definitely outshined Cole on the rapping department. But I think, at least for me at the time of hearing that, them collab on each other's tracks by like doing what they do, I thought J. Cole still made a good song out of what he was given, you know. And I didn't really treat it as a competition. I just treated it as them paying homage to one another. That was really it. You know what I'm saying?
And I can't disagree. He really was rapping like his life was on the line and making a statement. And I personally believe that it's the element of competition further enforced by both the fans and the media that would eventually come between these two artists. As we close out the year, J. Cole would clinch BET's Album of the Year. However, Kendrick would win Album of the Year at the Grammys. I mean, they're both phenomenal projects. One got a Grammy, one got a BET award. I'm happy with it. They both...
You know which one means more, though. You know, you can't say it because you white, but I can say it because of what means more in the notoriety, department of the game. Like, you know, it's different.
Deserve it. And even in 2016, 2017, talks of this joint project is still going.
There's a Kendrick Cole out.
There's a Kendrick, they got it. You know what I'm saying? They got something in the works. They've been working on them for a while.
And to make the fans go even crazier with anticipation, people got even more excited when Kendrick brought out J. Cole in Detroit.
Detroit, I'ma just calm down.
And just a few weeks...
We just chilling, vibing.
Weeks later, TDE Punch would share a tweet saying, I was just playing about that Dot and Cole joint. It's coming for sure, maybe. I don't know, it might happen. Probably. Actually, hit them. This joint album got teased for years and years and years. But the fans still kept up hope, as at the end of 2017, the Snowman himself was able to secure a feature from both J. Cole and Kendrick.
Super underwhelming. I remember when I heard this, I'm like, okay, they kind of releasing the little single to kind of, you know, build up hype for the collab. Never came.
For his track American Dream.
Nigga, put it on plate. I'm running the game, you running the place.
Lie on what is known to the traveling man.
However, Jeezy approached this record a little bit sneaky, as he didn't tell Kendrick or Cole that they would both be on the same song together.
Did he know Kendrick was going to be on it too?
Nah.
What a dick.
So when they heard the finished product, you know, everybody kind of knew everybody was on the record.
And it really makes sense because J. Cole is really rapping on his verse, yet Kendrick took this very melodic approach and isn't really rapping at all. I feel like if Kendrick
Like he saved that nigga, bro. Like, come on.
heard Cole's verse or even knew Cole would be on the record, he might have decided to really rap instead, or maybe it wouldn't have changed anything, as the theme of this record may not have called for that level of competing. As we close out 2017-2018, Kendrick had a hell of a year in the awards category, winning BET's Album of the Year and Lyricist of the Year over J. Cole. Kendrick would also win several Grammys, but most noteworthy, Rap Album of the Year, and we can't forget that he was the first hip-hop artist ever to win a Pulitzer Prize.
Awarded to Damn by Kendrick Lamar.
And now we get a line from J. Cole where he voices his opinions about the Grammys.
The streets don't give a fuck about the Grammys.
At the time, Cole had 7 Grammy nominations with 0 wins. And then we got Kendrick cleaning up. He had like 12 Grammys to his name.
It could be a sub, but again, it's like, that's been such a, and especially for J. Cole at the time, that was off of a Cause record. J. Cole had already received hundreds of thousands of sales first week. Through previous records. I mean, Born Center had already dropped, Forest Hills Drive had already dropped. He was already getting notoriety and recognition through the industry, going pretty, that's like his feature run was starting to get started at that point. It's like, I like, even if Kendrick was winning a whole bunch at the time, it's like, I don't think that he meant it like that. I think it was just like, I really don't give a fuck. Like, anything, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm doing well. The people, my rap peers are doing well. We're all being acknowledged. Like, Grammys don't mean shit. That was like, that's not the first time the sentiment started about the Grammys not meaning anything.
You can take this line however you want. And it will be at this point where J. Cole finally shuts down the idea of a joint project and basically says that it's not gonna happen.
That's not a real thing. That's like some fantasy thing.
It's not. It didn't come from nowhere. It came from us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not like it's something that's actively happening.
And as time goes on, we get nothing but non-stop comparisons and questions of who's the better rapper. Who's the better storyteller, J. Cole or Kendrick? Greatest rapper of this generation, J. Cole or Kendrick? Who's the better rapper, J. Cole or Kendrick?
The answer to all of those questions is Kendrick Lamar.
And at the time, the overwhelming majority would say that Kendrick was the better rapper. However, outside of a Black Panther soundtrack and a few features, Kendrick is very much absent between the years of 2018 and 2021.
That means nothing.
And while Kendrick has his feet up, we see this epic shift in J. Cole, where he begins to reshape the narrative of who's the best.
And see, that's the thing that I think a lot of people are getting misconstrued. Because of Kendrick's absence during that time, people thought or think that J. Cole had it, because nobody was really doing what J. Cole was doing. So it's like easy when one person is absent to look at the next guy and be like, oh yeah, he's the best. He's doing his thing. And he is doing his thing. Don't get me wrong. J. Cole on this particular era from 2018 all the way through 2021, going crazy on features. He was doing wild shit. Like the best music I'd ever heard from Cole, best verses I'd ever heard from Cole. That's just the fact of the matter. But Kendrick was absent. Nobody was hearing his music. There was no room for comparison. Obviously, he gonna get his just due around this time. There was people that were telling me that the Black Panther soundtrack was preferable to them than KOD. That's what they were saying.
Niggas been counting me out. I'm counting my bullets. I'm loading my clips. Kill them strangers to the blood smoke. Gun smoke. You niggas don't want smoke. No guts like that. Switch it. We just smoke. Okay, no problem. I show up on everyone album. You know what the outcome will be. From this day forward, I move with a new ferocity. Yeah, I'm the GOAT. No nigga don't at me. Put on your coat. Don't work up your colder. This is my year. Don't say I ain't told you.
He was doing his thing though, bro.
With J. Cole.
He was doing his thing.
12 features in 2018 and 16 features in 2019, and he pretty much smoked them all. Now, the very last time these two will be heard on the same record was on Dreamville's Under the Sun, where Kendrick had an uncredited hook.
I woke up for some money.
And even in 2020, fans are still talking about this Kendrick and Cole project, and this time, TDE Punch totally shuts it down. One fan posted, "I want Lamar on an EP with Cole." Punch responded, "That's never going to happen." Another fan then asked if they were maybe planning something bigger than an EP, to which Punch responded, "0 tracks, not happening." So what was once a maybe is now
a
just
definite
very stern
no.
no. However, it would appear that even after all the work J. Cole put in, it still wasn't enough, as he was still being cast aside when compared to Kendrick and Drake.
Cole got rings, but I don't put
Cole
him
one of the
on
greatest. He's one of the greatest.
I don't put him on the level of Drake and Kendrick.
Being as competitive as he is, I feel like these opinions begin to bother J. Cole, and it helps to mold the hungry artist that we've seen in recent years. It's around this time where I feel J. Cole asked himself a few questions like, how do I want to be remembered? How do I want to close out my legacy? And do I really want to finish this thing off with a bronze medal?
I had to make a real decision. Like, have you wrote your best song? Did you leave no stone unturned creatively? And when I thought about that feeling, I was like, nah, I'm not cool with that.
And in my opinion, he made his choice, and this is where things start to get interesting. Fans started to speculate that J. Cole took subliminal shots at Kendrick on his album The Offseason.
Big stepper, nigga, don't get stepped on.
Now, there were countless posts on Reddit and
How? Didn't the off-season drop before Mr. Morale?
You know what's crazy? All of J. Cole's best accomplishments came off the Another Rapper's song and album. A lot with 21 and First Person Shooter with Drake. Interesting take to doubt him.
Like, what the fuck? Mr. Morale wasn't even out yet. What do you mean?
people on YouTube who really felt like the words "Big Stepper Don't Get Stepped On" was a direct reference to Kendrick's Mr. Morale and the Big
It wasn't out yet. What the fuck?
However, Cole's track came out 11 months
Yeah, okay, I'm glad you acknowledged
Kendrick's
it.
album title was even announced. So unless J. Cole had some inside information about the album title, I'm not sure how this theory holds much weight.
So why are you including it?
I mean, you guys can tell me what you think. I'm all for speculating, but to me, it really got to make sense. In 2021, J. Cole would address his position of being in third place on a track titled Heaven's EP.
Oh, this was the one I had a huge problem with. This is where it started. This is where it started right here.
People say that I'm running third. They threw the bronze at me. Behind Drake and Dot, yeah, them niggas is superstars to me.
So J. Cole acknowledges that many people consider him as being number 3, but instead of tearing a strip off Kendrick or Drake, he tips his hat to them, complimenting their place in hip-hop.
The tale's official. The best nigga breathing it just failed to hit you. You couldn't tell cause you fell for the bells and whistles.
However, Cole makes it clear that the fans got his ranking fucked up and calls himself the hardest in the game. He goes on to explain that the people fell for the bells and whistles. This could be alluding to the many times that he got snubbed during awards, or the fact that he's been known to do very little promo when it comes to rolling out his albums. There's just nothing flashy about J. Cole. He just looks like a normal fucking dude, and very seldom is he into
It's not about just how he looks, it's about the music that he makes as well. It's just a regular guy. It's nothing extraordinary about, you know what I'm saying? The music. And like I said, regardless how you feel about Drake being, I would think, or I would say the least consistent out of everybody who's making the music right now, if you're talking about a big 3, when he does drop something, no matter if it's bad or good, it's interesting. It's grabbing. You saying, yes, we know you hate Cole, Sean. That's not what I said. But if you want to be in your feelings like a little hoe about it, keep being in your feelings. Like I said, J. Cole make regular nigga music for regular niggas. That's why a lot of regular niggas identify with it. You feel me? But at the end of the day, it's nothing special to a point where I would say it's worthy of being compared to a nigga like Kendrick Lamar, whose discography is just ridiculous. Drake's earlier work, regardless of how you feel about him, ridiculous. Cole don't have that. That's all. That's literally it. He's a great rapper, probably great guy. I say it again. I say it a million times until it goes through niggas' heads, and they keep and they stop saying hater every time you say the truth about J. Cole. Rap Penguin, he's gotten so much better, and I'm hyped for the fall off. I 100% agree with you. Nobody could listen to J. Cole over the last 3, 4, 5 years and be like, the nigga's gotten worse or he hasn't gotten better. He's the best he's ever been right now. Unfortunately, that's not enough to be in that conversation. I really hope he gonna get there. I do. But even I'm thinking about the last few tracks I listened to off of his Might Delete This series that he's doing in promo for the new album. I didn't hear anything off of those. I heard nothing. He's got a very strong voice. He's dominant on the tracks. His beat selections are interesting, but bar wise, it's regular shit. It's regular shit, my boy.
And I touch that nigga. It's going down in here. I'm with the money team.
Appreciate the sub.
Media, unless it's for his music.
Too much hunger is no.
You saying L Take? Give me his best bar off the most recent 2 songs that he dropped. Might delete later. Give me the best bar. Niggas just saying L Take with zero perspective at all. Like, what is it? Sorry, I can't respect your criticism of Cole when you pick Future over To Pimp a Butterfly. That has nothing to do with my opinion of J. Cole, number one. Number two, I didn't just put DS2, I believe. Wasn't that a conversation or was it The Wizard? Regardless, they serve different purposes. And like I said, if you ask me on a different day, To Pimp a Butterfly could be over the Future record. It doesn't matter. Every day you're not going to feel the exact same way about those bodies of work because that's just not how I'm supposed to feel about them. I can like them both equally and be like, okay, I prefer this one. This is the one I like. This is the one I like today. It's not ranking them beneath one another. It's not saying this don't have as much skill or as much merit as this one. I'm not doing that. And the issue I think most people have when it comes to Kendrick is ranking his ideas over his music. I respect all of things, like everything that Kendrick has to say in his music. That doesn't mean that I prefer it just because the idea is respectable. That's what a lot of people end up getting misconstrued. Like, that's why Drake, they just so easily remove Drake from the conversation because, oh, he don't have a message. He's still a good rapper. He still has plenty of powerful moments in his discography. I'm not saying that he's consistent. I'm not saying that at all. But he's up there.
Said you are entitled to your opinion and your entertainment, but you didn't read it.
It doesn't matter. You're saying that the reason that you don't respect the perspective is because I placed that ranking, and I'm saying that perspective or that ranking doesn't matter. It's not relevant to how I feel about Cole. It's not relevant to how I feel about Kendrick. That's all I'm saying. Babes, Drake has put trash since 2018 in terms of discography. Yeah, but within the trash that he's dropped, he still has some powerful moments. A lot of niggas, you know, are against me when I say I like what is that one album, Dark Lane Demo Tapes. I like that record. I think he wasn't taking himself seriously. It was during COVID where niggas, I feel like me, really just needed some shit that to not take so seriously. It was just some cool, calm shit. That was tough. Is it the greatest in the world? Is it the strongest album? No, but is it a fun listen? Yeah.
One of these niggas can't keep up, so saying yes to a feature just means I'm about to eat lunch, bitch.
In the first line, Cole references just how hungry he's become for that #1 spot, and in the second line, he alludes to the fact that every feature he does, he wraps circles around the artist requesting it.
And that was facts. That's true. Most of those features that J. Cole was on for that feature run, he out-rapped most of those people.
It's been exactly 1,746 days since the last time Kendrick Lamar dropped an album.
1,855 days.
And then Kendrick comes out with Mr. Morale once again. This is something that people get misconstrued all the time. Powerful message, but there's this loyalty that people have to the ideas within the album that, for whatever reason, they feel like they can't acknowledge that it's reasonable for a lot of people not to prefer the music on this project, for them not to want to hear the ideas on this record as much. Nobody's discrediting Kendrick Lamar's talent or writing ability, but it wasn't preferred for various reasons. But when this album came out and you hear his writing, you see what he's talking about, and you hear the way he's talking about those things, you like, well, damn, he's still the greatest rapper. All that shit that you might have been saying about J. Cole is completely irrelevant when you hear a record like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, because you know J. Cole isn't capable of something like that. Pen-wise. He's not capable. And he might be. I'm just saying that to stir shit. Of course he might be capable, but he hasn't shown that.
Honest question, Sean. When was the last time did you listen to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers?
Oh, it's been a while. I don't listen to that album a lot. I don't. And I said that when it first came out. I got mad hate. Niggas, it's funny. Niggas called me a Kendrick dick rider because I liked his verse on the Like That with Future and Metro. But they was calling me a hater of Kendrick Lamar when I said that this album didn't do it for me. For various reasons, by the way, that I explained in like very careful detail. But this is another example of people overrating, or not overrating, but prioritizing the message over the music. That's really it. And even the message had hypocrisies.
I understand where you coming from. People like Drake, Kanye, even K. or more OG rappers that have got worse over the years in the album but have some songs that hold a lot of value in themselves.
Yeah.
And Cole might made better albums.
Yeah, and J. Cole to me has been very consistent over the last few years.
Mr. Morale, good messages, but some songs have zero replay value like Mother I Sober.
Yeah, but I mean that's one of his great written track. But again, when J. Cole gets on here, he's talking about who's the best. It's like when you say something like that, it's like a smack in the face. Like, do you think I don't listen to other albums? You might be able to get away with that if I listen to 5 artists. You think I don't hear other people? Do you hear other people for you to say something like that?
I've been going through something.
Missed at the inner city, miscommunication, and keep homo detector busy. No protection is risky.
You don't like it that much, which is okay. That's why you think people are prioritizing the message. No. That's not why I think that. And that's not just because my issue with Mr. Morale isn't just because of the music. I already explained why it was so much in regards to that album that I felt there were huge problems with that people overlooked because it's Kendrick Lamar and they're so infatuated with the messages that he puts in the music that they're overlooking hypocrisy even if it's right in their face. But that's not specifically the reason why. What else did you say? Because you don't like it as much. Replay value is subjective. Yeah, replay value is 100% subjective, but that's not the bulk of the reason why. If it was limited just to replay value, I probably wouldn't have even gave my perspective on Mr. Morale. I would have just let it go.
After a 5-year hiatus, on May 13th, 2022, Kendrick released Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. The album received mixed reviews, but in my opinion, was his most personal and introspective album to date. I even got a t-shirt with the album on it.
And that's facts. He's 100% right. This is like the deepest Kendrick Lamar has ever gone. Very vulnerable. And while it has its problems and its hypocrisies and some contradictions that aren't intentional or as intentional as people think, this is the most powerful thing I think he's ever done artistically. I haven't seen Drake or J. Cole take themselves to those lengths to make powerful music. It don't have to be in this same vein, but taking yourself to those uncomfortable places, whatever those uncomfortable places are for you, they don't go there. To have my album be released and then the year later somebody say, we in the big 3, no. No. You could never say that.
Much I like the album. Again, fans speculated that Kendrick was throwing shade at J. Cole on his track Count Me Out.
Ain't nobody but the mirror looking for the fall off.
Many people seem to believe that because J. Cole's upcoming...
What did he say?
Ain't nobody
but the mirror looking for the fall off. I don't even know what that means.
But the mirror looking for the fall off.
Many people seem to believe that because J. Cole's upcoming project is called The Fall Off, that this could have been a very direct shot. And initially I didn't think this was a shot at J. Cole, but J. Cole appears to respond directly to this a little bit later down the line. With that said, J. Cole would appear to take more shots at Kendrick on Johnny P's Caddy with Benny the Butcher.
If I put your favorite rapper neck in a noose, never letting him loose.
When the track initially came out, some speculated that Cole was actually dissing Benny on his own record.
The problem is you're never gonna know who Cole was talking about because he's so vague. He's not gonna put a name to it.
But even Benny said that he felt Cole was dissing someone else.
If you ask me, he was talking to somebody. Yep. So the guys who everybody compared him with and put him in the ring with, like, to me, that's who he's looking at.
I'm probably gonna go to hell if Jesus asks for a feature.
This was a great verse from Cole too, by the way. Once again, killing it, still doing his thing, still great in his own way. But niggas gotta get him hate because they put him in other tiers.
First line, Cole makes it clear that he's bodying anyone on a feature and even claims that Jesus himself would take a loss. One person that's imitated Jesus in the past would be none other than Kendrick Lamar.
Did Johnny P's Caddy come out at the time of that? Or did Mr. Morale, wasn't Johnny P's Caddy before? Maybe I'm tripping. I don't even remember what Johnny P's Caddy, what year was this? This was January. This is before.
I know people like stirring the narrative, but I wonder what if Kendrick drops some hard shit this year, whatever, like, or mixtape / album L, will people switch up again after saying he came out of nowhere after being gone? I don't agree with BTW.
I hate the way sometimes TTS reads that because it could have been so fluid and I just got completely confused because this dumbass voice. I need to get a new voice or just read the shit out myself. Hold on. Hold that thought for a second. Second of all, this is just not true because Mr. Morale didn't come out until May of 2022. Johnny P's Caddy already dropped in January. So I don't know how this would be a reference to Kendrick again. I know people like stirring the narrative, but I wonder what would happen if Kendrick drops some hard shit this year or whatever, like a mixtape album. Will people switch up again after saying he came out of nowhere after being gone? You don't agree with it, by the way. Nah, I think there's a group of people that are gung ho against Kendrick now, because there's been so many people that have been like confident Drake fans, and we have like not necessarily this influx of people that don't respect music that has a message, but there's been enough people that have been vocal about music not needing to have a message for it to be enjoyable, for them to be like, oh, if Kendrick does drop something, we're going to deny it, not necessarily because it's bad, but we don't have to have it. Like Kendrick Lamar, regardless of what people say, is not a necessity in rap. He's not. Music will go on, and music's been going on during that hiatus where he was making this album, and it'll keep going on well beyond this verse that he dropped on the Future and Metro project. He's not a necessity. Like, niggas aren't like going and wondering like, yo, where's Kendrick? What's wrong with the state of rap right now? Like, I'm not looking for Kendrick to save anybody from anything. It's not like that. So if he does come out with something, I'm sure the people that already like him will listen to it. We're gonna acknowledge him, blah 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 blah. But if he don't, like, we're not missing nothing. I'm not trying to say he's not great, but if he don't continue to drop, I'm cool. There's mad niggas that are still dropping music and putting out great shit, innovative. They sound good. They're catchy, good music. It's too many people to choose from.
Music video for Humble, where Kendrick is dressed up as a Catholic preacher, and you can see the empty glass and bread sitting on the table. Cole makes it clear that he sees a glass full of ether, which could be a reference to Nas's infamous diss to Jay-Z.
Yeah, but that came out 5 years before that. Humble dropped in 2017.
Oh God, the best rapper alive, headshot.
J. Cole ends off the verse to state that he's the best rapper alive.
I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. I am the greatest rapper alive. Now go and ask the best rappers that died. They tell you he never lied. So damn great, motherfucker, I've died.
And I gotta agree with Benny. I do think he is talking to someone, and that someone, I feel like, is Kendrick Lamar. However, in my view, one of the most obvious and direct shots to date would come on J. Cole's track, The Secret Recipe.
Niggas fake progressive and woke. I started saying less. I had to stop it. Peaked how they profit off of racial stress.
It's no secret that the themes within Kendrick's music often reflects on racial tension and the struggle that comes with it. Drake more or less labeled Kendrick as a grifter in the past, and I feel like J. Cole is taking a similar stance.
That's not unfair. I don't think that's a reach.
Studio steppers move.
I would say, oh shit.
For extra
Oh shit. Studio steppers moving extra on songs, fake and rap. Oh, I mean, that's multiple people though. That's multiple people though that this could apply to.
The first line appears to be a reference to Kendrick's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, where Cole calls him out for faking the funk when it comes to the message in his music.
Niggas making threats and I laugh. That's cause you ain't a threat. Don't ask how I feel about no rappers. Shit, they okay, I guess.
So again, J. Cole is not looking at any of these other rappers as a threat, but most importantly, he doesn't look at Kendrick as a threat.
He can't say that because I don't take that serious. But that's a cool little shot, I guess. You know? And if you came away from the perspective of Miss Morale that I did, it's not unreasonable to have that perspective. I don't think it's unreasonable to have that perspective at all. If you coming at Mr. Morale from the angle that I'm coming at it from, and a lot of people were coming at it from, and you're not just casually listening to music and hearing this nigga just go on and on and on about shit, and not actually peeling back what the things that he's saying allude to and what they mean, and the people that he actually ended up grabbing to work on this album, you might look at him a little bit funny. You would. I don't even think that that's like a horrible thing to say. J. Cole, I don't think is completely outside of that criticism though. So it could apply to him. It could apply to him too. Maybe not as knowingly.
Top 5 tonight.
It wasn't directed toward anyone though. There's not that many people that need to be acknowledged that talk about black issues to that high of a degree that are as public and that are as open about that thing. I'm not saying he has to be saying that,
every muscle in
but
my body if I react like this man.
but I don't think that was a reach. I know I'm not the only one who has heard the Hard Part 5 and hoped to hear more like it on the album and was disappointed. The album was good, but man, that song is something. Hard Part 5 is amazing. That's an amazing cut. It is. It's an amazing track. Bottom line, J. Cole is Android, Drake is Apple, and Kendrick is a Razor phone or a BlackBerry. What? What? Oh shit.
And now for the most damning piece of all, first-person shooter.
A lot of niggas debating my numero. Not a 3, not a 2 on the UNO.
So right off rip, J. Cole makes it clear on Drake's own record that he's number one.
Yo.
Now, when J. Cole refers
Shit
to
ain't the
himself
biggest
and Drake as being the Super Bowl, what two teams make it to the Super Bowl? The two best teams. By inserting himself and Drake as being...
Yo, bar breakdowns are fucking hilarious, dog.
the best,
I swear to God, what the fuck?
Essentially omitting Kendrick from the equation.
It's like, how does this work?
Entirely.
Like a kid that had bad from January to November, nigga, it's just you and Cole.
Again, Drake supports Cole's previous Super Bowl analogy by stating that it's just him and Cole in the running.
I'm naming the album to fall off. It's pretty ironic because it ain't no follow for me.
And now we get back to Kendrick's line on Count Me Out with his reference, nobody but the mirror looking for the fall off. And Cole makes it clear that there's no falling off for him.
Love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K-Dot, is it Aubrey or me?
Okay, so he mentions Kendrick and Drake, but...
We the big three like we started the league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali.
So this is very much a backhanded compliment. He calls himself Muhammad Ali. Now, who's Muhammad Ali? Just think about that.
The Spider-Man meme is me looking at Drake.
Again, as they continue to remove Kendrick from...
That's not a backhanded compliment. He's just doing the thing that he always does again by saying he the best.
From the equation, they need to be prepared for what's to come. And I can almost guarantee that Kendrick will have some form of response to this record. Guaranteed.
Everybody steppers with fucking and everybody breakfast and I'm about to clear my plate.
I mean, at this point, I don't think J. Cole can make it any more obvious who he's talking about.
That could be it. That could be it.
When it comes to his collaboration records with Drake, there's an ongoing theme in their music that people seem to overlook, and their track Evil Ways is another example of just that.
Yeah, it's only so many times that Drake and J. Cole gonna collab and exclude, Kendrick Lamar, despite J. Cole talking about how they're like in the big three. That's really a big like why.
AKA me and Drizzy Drake, we the wave.
Again, Cole is positioning himself and Drake as being the top two. So if you're Kendrick Lamar, how are you to perceive this? When two of the artists that you've been up against since the beginning of your career
link up and they start making music. You can't call me big three and then be like, oh, let's exclude him from the track. I'm not saying that's what happened, but like, how does that look?
Are making these style of records. Then when we look at the reality of the situation, which is the fact that Kendrick does not like Drake, how do you expect him to respond? Like I said, I'll put my entire fucking YouTube channel on the line here. Like, Kendrick will have a response to these records.
I stay out of beef, see niggas DNA get rearranged.
J. Cole continues to bait Kendrick with the line, see dude's DNA get rearranged, which would be a reference to Kendrick's track DNA. We can't continue to just ignore this like it's not happening. There is many signs. However, J. Cole wasn't done and even had more subliminals for Kendrick on his recent release, Might Delete Later.
Niggas swear they compare, but the truth humble. They get fuck 112, you couldn't do numbers.
In the first line, Cole references how he's often compared with someone, and that someone would evidently be Kendrick, with the use of the word humble.
Oh, bitch, be humble. Bitch, sit down.
In the second line, Cole says you couldn't do numbers, which is in reference to Kendrick's last project, where many considered it to be a flop,
Now it's getting juicy. Now it's getting juicy. We'll be on. Now it's getting a little juicy.
The fact that it was his lowest selling album in the last 10 years.
What the fuck? $110? Yeah, that don't sound right. First week it was 292. I'm pretty sure. According to magazine, the album has moved a total of 1 million units by the end of 2022, including 177 pure sales. So what do you get 110K?
110 in US. He took a while to go plat in USA. Sales
Why do that,
currently
though?
BC, they changed drastically over the last couple years.
I'm the one that niggas fear on the low ski.
In the first line, J. Cole makes it clear that certain rappers are afraid of him on the low. This ties perfectly into what Joe Budden said about Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick talking shit to everybody in the world but a nigga named Jermaine.
Heard them talking like we peers, but they grossly mistaken and it's blatant.
In the second line, Cole points out directly that people think he's friends with Kendrick, but that it's blatantly obvious this is not the case. The reality of the situation is the two have not been seen in the same room together in 6-7 years, 0 collaborations have happened, 0 support for one another's projects, and they don't even follow each other on social media.
Does Kendrick follow anybody on social media? Does J. Cole even have social media? And I don't even know how we get to the point. Again, it's just so general or just so regular for J. Cole to speak about those things in that vein. He could literally apply it to any person. I don't get how it has to be a connection to Kendrick. I'm not saying that he hasn't alluded to there being not friction, but like this ongoing battle. But when it comes to stuff like this, I'm just like, it could be about anybody.
And I don't know if they ever followed each other, but I'm pretty sure they did. And many people would argue that J. Cole made it clear in his 2021 interview with Kevin Durant that he valued his relationships with Drake and Kendrick.
I would, I don't want to be like, damn, we never kicked it, you know what I mean? Like, we never really even did nothing. So like, I'm at that point where it's like, I'm more interested in the genuine relationship.
Okay, so who does he have a relationship with today? Who's he making records with? Who's he taking pictures with? Who's he showing up on stage for? He's talking about Drake here, not Kendrick. Back in 2020...
Yeah, but him and Kendrick don't have overlap right now. Drake may have reached out for him to be on the track.
J. Cole released somewhat of a roadmap / schedule for his music. Based on the trajectory of what we've seen, he appears to be following this to a T, so before we get the fall off, I believe we'll be getting something in the form of a mixtape or EP called It's a Boy. Regardless of the schedule, I think it's safe to assume that not only will J. Cole continue to strive for this #1 spot, but that he's willing to go to whatever lengths that is needed to get there. The situation with J. Cole is something very uncommon in hip-hop. J. Cole's name is already cemented in the history books. He's extremely rich. He's extremely successful. The common path that we've seen with most artists is that at some point, they lose the hunger that they once had. J. Cole is an anomaly in the sense that his music is only getting better. So you gotta ask yourself, what is fueling J. Cole right now?
I don't know what's fueling him either. I don't care. But it is factual that at this point in his career, he's only getting better. I will say that.
Well, the answer to me is very simple.
But in hip-hop, the gods come with their weapons.
I don't think it's because of Kendrick, though. I think it's too deep in to be like, this is the motivation for why J. Cole is getting better as an artist. When he just said in this exact same video, am I comfortable leaving my legacy where it is? And he said no. He said, am I comfortable getting a bronze medal? No.
Joe Budden.
He just said that. So it's like, I don't know why he's getting better. I don't know why he's growing more consistent at a later part of his career, but I'm for it, and I don't believe it's because of Kendrick.
Enter J. Cole first. Enter J. Cole first.
And it's a chess game.
It's a chess game, exactly. It's a chess game.
And by the way, guys, when it comes to a company like Scentbird, for example, I'm trying to find a few key brands here for the channel that not just work for me, but work for you guys too. So when it comes to a company like Scentbird, it works for me because I really like the products, and I feel like you'll really like them too.
That look like an asthma inhaler, my G. I'm going to chill off on that one, bro. I don't got asthma. My lungs work fine today. That was a good video, though, in the sense that it helps to, cover their potential subliminals, some of which I think are massive reaches, just like we did in the Drake versus Kendrick video as well. But it just seems odd, I guess. Like, none of it is direct enough, I feel like. And the most direct of a response that we got was recently, and now that that's out and there's no response to that response, it's like, how are people to view that conversation, How are you to look at that? I feel like with J. Cole and Kendrick, like that beef or that back and forth really don't need to happen, because I really in my heart of hearts don't even feel like there's anything there for real. It just don't seem like it would be hostile enough for it to get to that point of like dissing on like, obviously to Kendrick it is to a certain degree, but that's because of how offensive I would take it if I had done all this work and then they throw me into that conversation with those two. I don't like the fact that nothing has happened beyond that so far.